We have the latest updates in the hashtag Free Britney saga. We're learning that Britney Spears' court-appointed lawyer, Samuel Ingham, joined her manager, Larry Rudolph, in resigning after her shocking conservatorship hearing. He did it just one day after Rudolph quit. Ingham told a court just last year that Spears was a voluntary conservatee. But based on everything we've heard, it doesn't exactly sound like that's the case. Here's a little recap of everything that went down in case you missed it.
Britney Spears is making her voice heard. On Wednesday, Britney appeared virtually before a Los Angeles court to speak about the effects of her 13-year conservatorship and why she believes her father, Jamie Spears, should no longer be conservator of her estate. The superstar began her nearly 30-minute statement by saying that she has felt that she has not been heard in court. She then addressed her prior music and tour commitments, saying that she is, quote, not here to be anyone's slave. She then admitted that her recent social media posts have been a facade, saying, I've lied and told the whole world I'm okay and I'm happy. It's a lie. I've been in denial. I've been in shock. I am traumatized. She added, quote, fake it till you make it, but now I'm telling the truth, okay? I'm not happy. I can't sleep. I'm depressed. I cry every day. She then asked for the conservatorship to end.
So during the hearing, Britney said to the judge, quote, ma'am, I didn't know I could petition the conservatorship to end. I honestly didn't know that. But according to sources, her lawyer says he, quote, regularly gave Britney options, including requesting that the conservatorship should end. Right. This is a little hard to believe considering she's been begging to get out of her conservatorship. Interesting to see all these people who've been in control of her life now just trying to worm their way out scot-free. I'm no attorney, but it seems like something's gone wrong here. From what we've heard from the pop star, it sounds like she's been living a life of hell, modern-day slavery. So why is Britney still not free, and what should be her next steps? Joining me now with more, criminal defense attorney and anchor at Law and Crime Network, Bob Bianchi. Welcome to the program, Bob. I'm really excited to have you here to break it all down. It looks like we actually have a new development in the story. Her mother is now petitioning for her daughter to hire her own attorney. So I was reading that conservatives usually have the option to choose their own counsel, but Britney originally did not have that. What was the reason for that, do you think?
Well, there are lots of reasons, Jasmine, and thanks for having me on. This case is really unbelievable. Think about this. In a 10-minute hearing in 2008, Britney Spears lost everything. There was no testimony. There were no witnesses. She was in the hospital. She didn't have an opportunity to be heard. And all these years later, she's not in control of her life. She's not in control of her finances. She's not in control of her medical condition. Now, there are disputes. There are people that say, no, she is in control. Everybody's got it wrong. But the fact of the matter is she gave a 25-minute impassioned speech before the court, and that precipitated her father saying, you know what, let's file a motion with the court to say if these things are true, then there should be a change in the conservatorship and maybe a change in personnel. And now the mother, as you just noted, breaking news, filed a petition with the court to say that she should be entitled to her own private attorney. Who can imagine if you commit a crime, you commit a murder, you're entitled to an attorney. But if you've had everything taken away from you for all these years, you're not entitled to your own attorney to advance your own interests. It's really a disgrace. And now the mother is saying to the court, please give her that personal attorney. So it's been a twisted and long tale.
Wow, that really is interesting. And the attorney that I was speaking about in the intro that was court-appointed, they're saying that she's been begging him to file the petition to terminate the conservatorship, and he still hasn't, and she doesn't understand the holdup. So she said, this is what a source said, she feels she made it crystal clear in court that she wants the conservatorship terminated, but nearly 2 weeks later, after the hearing, she's still waiting for it to be filed. So from a lawyer point of view, what would be the reasoning why he wouldn't just file this petition?
Yeah, this is really hard to say. This is a very complex matter, and if I came into my office and I were handling it, I got to go through the whole history from 2008 in order to show all the abuses that have gone on, and as importantly, to convince the court that a conservatorship is no longer needed because of mental health concerns, so on and so forth. So putting paperwork like that together takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. So it's a good question. I'm sure that lawyer is going to be answering that question because the public is asking, but I don't find anything unusual about not filing it right now. Bottom line is she doesn't want a court-appointed attorney. She wants her own attorney, and she should be entitled to that, just like a person who commits a murder is entitled to that.
Yeah, and I was listening to one lawyer speak about this, and they said that no one should be forced under a conservatorship unless, they've been found incompetent under the law, right? So like mental health issues, substance abuse, you can't make decisions on your own. So I'm sure that you heard parts of the hearing. Does Britney fall under that to you?
I don't know if we have enough facts yet to decide that, but I know that years ago, 3 psychiatrists or psychologists, mental health people said she wasn't mentally fit. But people's mental health status changes with medication and treatment. So you don't know what the status is today, 14 years later. I know at least one of those psychiatrists that had evaluated her and found her mentally unfit to handle her affairs all those years ago says they don't know why it's still continuing right now in the conservatorship. And that's why it's so important, Jasmine, to talk about the attorney, because if she had her own private attorney, the private attorney for sure is going to want to have her evaluated and maybe ask the court to have an independent evaluator, because it is a fair thing to say, is she mentally competent or not to handle her affairs? So that essentially is what's going on right now. She hasn't had that opportunity to really advance her interests in court, all because of that lawyer issue.
Yeah, and I was listening to her hearing and some of the claims that she was making, and she said that, it sounds like modern day slavery, like I said in the intro. She's not even allowed to choose the cabinets she wants. She has no control of her own money. And I think the most shocking of all those claims to me was the fact that she said that she wants to have children and they're not letting her. And for those of you who didn't hear that part of the hearing, I have a clip of it. Roll tape.
I want to be able to get married and have a baby. I was told right now in the conservatorship, I'm not able to get married or have a baby. I have a ID inside of myself right now, so I don't get pregnant. I wanted to take the ID out so I could start trying to have another baby, but this so-called team won't let me go to the doctor to take it out because they don't want me to have children.
So to me, that's not just outrageous and unbelievable. That just feels very un-American. So is this legal? Like, how is this legal?
Yeah, well, first of all, let's start off with that fact. These facts are disputed. This is what she says. The other side said they never told her that. But that's why a judge should have a hearing to determine the credibility of the witnesses and if it's true. And if I were a judge and I were to find out that, in fact, it was true or it was credible that she was not allowed to get married or have a baby, this isn't just a civil rights abuse. This is a human rights violation. It is an absolutely abject, immoral, I don't care what side of the political spectrum you are on, nobody could possibly believe that preventing somebody from being able to marry and have a child is something that should be deprived, especially for a woman who's making millions of dollars a year and has the competency of going on and doing shows and all sorts of things like that. They have no problem taking the money in, but not allowing her to have a child. Outrageous.
It is outrageous, and just seeing this is really getting drawn out, and there's a lot of back and forth. So, like, what is needed for her to be free?
Well, she's going to have to get her own lawyer. The mother just filed that petition. I hope the court grants it. I think the court will with the public pressure. The fans and the people that are outraged by this should put that pressure on. And then that lawyer, hopefully a competent attorney, is going to try to convince the court that not only has her assets and her personal body, been violated for a considerable period of time, but for a considerable period of time, she was capable of handling her affairs. And psychiatrically, she is mentally fit, and that the conservatorship should end.
Well, I know that Americans are watching this case very closely, and I know that her next hearing in this case is set for the 14th, so that's a week from today. So I guess we will just have to stay tuned. Thank you so much for breaking that all down for us, Bob.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Coming up next.